Twins continue to roll. They won the opener last night 9-3 in Cleveland, and they're hoping to ensure a series win with a win this afternoon against the Indians. In the last 2 weeks, the Twins have won 11 of the 14 games they've played. That's a .786 winning percentage, tied with the St. Louis Cardinals for the best mark in all of baseball during that stretch. Better than the Astros, the Dodgers, the Yankees. Phil Hughes has yet to find his groove this spring, but he did pick up his first win of the season in his last start. He's 4-2 in his career against the Indians. Bruce Chen will make his season debut in his Cleveland Indians debut. He had been pitching for the Indians AAA team, called up because of an injury to T.J. House. This will be Chen's 11th different big league team. Good afternoon from Progressive Field in Cleveland. I'm Marnie Gellner. Last night, the Twins put up 9 runs in their win, which gives them a total of 56 runs scored this month. 56 this month. It's been the hitting, but it's also been the pitching and the fielding. All of it has been so impressive, and all of it has led to the winning.
Winning cures everything. When you're winning, I don't care what team you play for. When you're winning, it's a lot of fun. It cures everything. You have fun in the clubhouse. The steak goes down better. The wine tastes better. The sleep is better. So, yeah, it's fun to win.
Offensively, the homestand was good. We scored a lot of runs. We're getting a lot of production from a lot of people, and that was a nice way to start a trip. You go out there and you're facing a guy who's pitched fairly well early in the year, and we're able to find a way to score 9 runs. That's a good thing.
Twins got a lot of production from Torrey Hunter last night. He went 4 for 4. Coming up, Dick Bramer and Roy Smalley on how Torrey continues to lead the pack.
Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by Menards.
The eyes still catch every baseball nuance. The glove still catches every baseball hit at it. We've seen this before.
Oh, what a catch!
11 seasons as the pulse of the Minnesota Twins. 4 of those saw playoff baseball. The organization was rebuilding when he arrived in 1997. Him as a cornerstone to it.
He didn't catch that, did he? He sure did!
He transformed it.
And a grand slam for Torrey Hunter!
Toughened it.
Oh my goodness! Cork gets flat!
Turned it from a nothing to a something.
The Minnesota Twins, for the third consecutive year, are the division champions in the Central.
He doesn't run from his past. He runs with it. It defines him. Tough, hard, determined, focused. Torrey Hunter. It's the story of what makes a man.
The Minnesota Twins have been really good lately. They've scored a lot of runs, and Torrey Hunter, their elder statesman, largely responsible. Torrey having a great return to the Minnesota Twins. And good Saturday afternoon to you from Cleveland. Dick Bramer along with Roy Smalley filling in for Bert Blyleven. In this day and age in baseball, you can measure just about everything. How many home runs a player has, how far they've gone, what their exit velocity is, for heaven's sakes. But sometimes the most important measure of a player are the things you can't analyze statistically.
And never have truer words been spoken about any player more than what Torrey Hunter brings to this ball club. Three very, very distinct but related positive influences in the clubhouse. That clubhouse presence, his personality, it's infectious, it's calming, and it's energizing all at the same time. But it's not just the social aspect of it. He is all about playing the game correctly. He told me yesterday before the game, I tell the guys all the time, we got to work our at-bats. We got to fight every pitch. We can't give away any at-bats. We don't have 30 home run guys. We got to play the game the right way. And finally, playing the game the right way, well, he can still do that. None of those first two things matter if you can't go out and deliver on the field. Torrey's still catching it and hitting it as well as anybody.
The Twins are quickly becoming the best feel-good story in baseball this side of the Houston Astros. We've got Game 2 with the Indians coming up next. It's still early May. It feels like early July. Beautiful summer day here in Cleveland with rain coming sometime later today. Brian Dozier in the box. We're getting ready to go here with Brian Dozier, Torrey Hunter, and Joe Mauer ready to get things started against veteran Bruce Chen. And the first pitch over, a strike. Dozier and the Twins had a lot of fun. They've had a lot of fun for several weeks now in terms of scoring runs. And he takes down an in-ball one. 88 degrees, the game time temperature.
It's just beautiful, isn't it? We've got this beautiful ballpark, one of the first new ballparks, an older one now, but still beautiful.
Inside, and it's 2-1. Bruce Chen brought into the Cleveland rotation when T.J. House went out with some shoulder problems. Might be able to see some subtle changes that they've made here in Cleveland. The bullpens are now in right center field, visible to everybody. That's the most noticeable change for me. 2-2 to Dozier. Again, Hunter and Mauer will follow.
Already we're seeing how Bruce Chen is going to work. There's nothing 90-mile-an-hour-ish about Bruce Chen. It's all just about trickery and different speeds of breaking ball and slower and slower.
Here's how the Twins will attack Chen and the Indians today. Brian Dozier, Torrey Hunter, Joe Mauer. Trevor Plouffe not with the team. We'll talk about that in a moment. Kenny Vargas, Eduardo Escobar, Eddie Rosario, Jordan Schaefer, and Danny Santana. And Dozier's called out on strikes, one away.
What has made Bruce Chen so successful is that he has the courage of a bandit. You see it right here. An 84-mile-an-hour fastball that he zips on the inside corner after throwing about 5 breaking balls. And that's what he has to be able to do. He has to have the courage and the ability to locate a fastball inside every once in a while and keep hitters honest. He really fooled Brian there.
Here is Hunter. And 84 miles per hour, swing, a foul tip, 1 strike. Quite a night for Hunter. 3 extra base hits. Checked his swing, 1-1. Twins announced that Hunter would rejoin the club. Twins made it very, very clear they did not think this was just going to be a victory lap scenario for Torrey Hunter. They expected him to be productive, and he, like the rest of the team, got off to a bit of a slow start, but now the average at 280, 4 home runs, 18 runs batted in. Inside, 3-1. Mauer on deck. That's down the line, foul. Cold hard facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Most RBI in the month of May so far. Torrey Hunter at the very top of the list with Yasmani Grandal. Bryce Harper with the 5 home runs in 2 games. Reddick and Vogt, the Twins just saw. That's blasted to left field. He has done it again. Torrey Hunter with home run number 5.
Well, when you're hot, you're hot. And Torrey told me going into this series, he just feels so good. He has found it, found his stroke again. He prepares really, really well. He knows how to play the game, knows how to prepare. And when he's feeling good, he's feeling good. He gets a ball in the middle of the plate. Mistake by Chen, and Torrey doesn't miss it. A high fastball, or a high, if you can call it a fastball from Chen, he just airmails it. God, what a great sound.
Here's Mauer, swinging a miss, 1 strike. Yeah, Chen's fastball is probably slower than Trevor Bauer's changeup that he saw last night. And Mauer fouls it back, 2 strikes. Team has enjoyed an offensive surge over the last couple of weeks. Joe's been struggling a bit, and Chen, almost like he tips off that sidearm delivery kind of early in his windup. Likes to do that against left-handers. No mystery here. Chen doesn't have overpowering stuff, and the Twins have seen enough of him over the recent years when he was with the Kansas City Royals. 1-2. Fouled back. His 11th different major league team, speaking of Chen, of course, in his 22nd year of professional baseball. Gets another look at that sidearm pitch and cracks it into right field for a single. 2 balls put in play, both safely, and now Kurt Suzuki.
Little breaking ball right here that has way too much of the plate, too much height, too much of the plate. You're not going to fool Joe with that pitch. He hangs in there against left-handers as well as anyone, and when you don't have to worry too much about the fastball velocity, you can wait a little bit longer. That ball settled in right into a good hitting zone for Joe.
Trevor Plouffe not with the team. He flew to Texas for a day for a family situation. He is expected back by game time tomorrow. So the Twins, who've been looking for a cleanup hitter anyway, saw Kurt Suzuki have a good night at the plate last night, and they've inserted him into the starting lineup as a cleanup hitter here today.
Not only that, he's 8 for 17 in lifetime against Bruce Chen. So a manager likes to see those kinds of numbers and put his lineup together accordingly.
1 strike. It's 1-1 to Suzuki. This will be the 20th pitch already for Chen. Dribbled foul, 1-2. Twins took 2 out of 3 from the Indians at Target Field. The Indians have won 1 series. Their very first series against the Houston Astros, and if the Twins can win today, it will be their 6th series win. Another 1-2 to Kurt Suzuki. Up the middle, and it'll skip through for a hit. Mauer to second, he'll hold up there. After Suzuki's night last night, Paul Molitor said to the Twins catcher it was the best Molitor, had seen Suzuki stay back on the ball all year long. And Paul asked Kurt, did you feel that? And he said, yeah, feeling really good right now. So all those things, even a conversation, impacted Molitor's lineup today, saying, oh, this guy's feeling good at the plate. Let him hit cleanup.
Exactly right.
Northland Ford defense for the Indians. Michael Brantley is their left fielder. Michael Bourne, their center fielder. Brandon Moss in right. Chisenhall, Ramirez, Kipnis, Santana around the infield. Roberto Perez doing the catching.
Back to what you were saying about the conversation that Molly had with Kurt Suzuki. The term he said he used actually was, "You look like you're staying behind the ball better than I've seen you this year."
Vargas,
very important.
Strike 1.
Yeah, very important for a hitter to stay behind the ball. And what that means is basically that your head stays more still and stays behind your swing as you extend the bat. And hitters will oftentimes get their weight moving forward and not have the sense that they're behind their swing, behind the ball.
Inside, nearly hit him, 1-1. Vargas, the designated hitter, hitting 5th. Vargas' batting average climbing out of the depths. One and one. Just outside 2-1. That's, I think, the pitch that Bruce Chen needs. That pitch that down and away near the corner. And if it doesn't get called and he has to get too much of the plate, he's going to have a very, I was going to say a long afternoon, but it'll be a short one. That's to center. And Bourne comes in to make the play, out number 2.
Well, you're absolutely right, Dick. He cannot pitch anywhere close to the center of the strike zone. He has to be on the corners with his fastball, both inside and out. Can't miss with it at all with his fastball because he tops out around 85 or 86. And then he has to have the breaking balls down in the strike zone, but for strikes. And it's just not that easy to throw the ball where you want to all the time. And when you don't have power stuff, your margin for error gets smaller and smaller.
Eduardo Escobar got the game off yesterday in the starting lineup at third base for Trevor Plouffe, and he comes up with 2 on and 2 out. And Perez to the mound. It's understandable. We might see this quite a bit today. Chen just called up to take the spot of TJ House in the rotation, take the spot of Anthony Swarzak on the roster, the former Twin who pitched effectively last night, designated for assignment today to accommodate Chen's arrival. Escobar takes one on the corner, strike one.
Here's a pretty big at bat early in the game. Twins would love to get Chen out of the ball game early, throw up a bunch of runs. They've been hitting so well with runners in scoring position.
Popped up. It will be over the Twins dugout and out of play.
One of the biggest differences is in the streak, positively, the positive streak, the win streak, over the 1-6 start is not only more guys hitting very, very well, but also getting big hits, 2-out hits, hits with runners in scoring position, prolonging innings, get a pitcher on the ropes, and they've been able to knock him out. Now they're in that situation again where a hit with a couple of guys on would go an awful long way.
Up and away 1 and 2. This is the 10th inning in this series for the Twins hitters. They've scored in 7 of them. But to Roy's point, Twins would love to put up a crooked number here in the first inning if they could. 1 and 2. One hopper to Chisenhall. Fires to second. That takes care of the Twins in the first 3 hits, and a big fly for Torrey Hunter. Second of the series, 5th of the year. Indians born in Aberdeen, South Dakota. Menard's batting order for the Indians already down 1-0. Jason Kipnis has taken over as their leadoff man effectively. Carlos Santana, Michael Brantley, Brandon Moss, Lonnie Chisenhall. Then a big drop off as you look at the batting averages for the last 4 Cleveland hitters. Swisher just getting his season started. Bourne a slump. Roberto Perez, and then Jose Ramirez. Phil Hughes behind the mound, pondering a slower than hoped for start, but he did pick up a win in his last start.
Pitched very, very well after struggling early in the ball game, giving up early runs. Then did a very, very nice job of keeping the Twins in the ball game, so the Twins were able to come back and win a nice one.
One of his losses against the Indians, fastball away, ball 1, back in the middle of April. 6 2/3 innings, 4 earned runs, 2 of those runs scoring in the 7th inning of work for Hughes. Line to left, and Rosario's there for the catch, 1 away. That'll bring up Santana. Northland Ford defense for the Twins. Rosario's left field debut came last night, back out there again today. Schaefer in center, Hunter in right, Escobar in for Plouffe at third. Santana, Dozier up the middle, Mauer first, Suzuki back behind the plate. When Hughes faced the Indians at Target Field, he had a good one going with just 2 runs allowed over 6 innings, and in those 6 innings, 3 of them were 1, 2, 3 innings. So he was pitching pretty well, and then Twins weren't doing much against Danny Salazar offensively, and then the Indians got a couple runs in the 7th. Hughes ended up being tagged with the loss. 1 strike to Santana. And up, ball 1.
Carlos Santana projected for so long to be the 4th hitter for the Twins, and certainly a run producer in the lineup, 3rd, 4th, 5th, somewhere in there. Terry Francona now having hit 2nd in the lineup.
High and deep to center. Schaefer back, still back, on the track, out number 2.
Finish that thought about Santana. Why would you put a run producer hitting 2nd? He's on base a lot. His on-base percentage is better than anybody else on the club. He walked 113 times last year, and so with the way the Indians lineup is right now, they need to get guys on in front of Brantley and Moss especially, and so Santana gets the call.
Michael Brantley will hit for the Indians, hit a home run last night. He is, until somebody else proves otherwise, he's the Indians' best hitter. Really emerged last year. Missed a good part of the first couple weeks. Now back in the lineup. A tough strikeout. In fact, nobody in the American League is tougher to strike out than Brantley so far this year. Chopped to the right side. Mauer has it. And he'll go to the bag. 2 fly ball outs, a ground ball out. A quick 1, 2, 3 first for Phil Hughes. All right, thank you, Tom. Happy to be here in Cleveland. Sorry we're missing the fishing opener, at least I am. Eddie Rosario on the first pitch dribbles it up the first baseline. Santana to the bag, 1 quick out. Closest I could get to actually fishing today in the opener is on, I guess it was Thursday when we had the overnight rains. As I went out to get the morning newspaper, collected some night crawlers, put them in my worm box.
Save some in your Burt box?
Yeah, might do that for Burt as well, but saving some night crawlers and taking care of them for when I do have a chance to hopefully catch some walleyes. 1 down, here's Jordan Schaefer. Schaefer getting the start in center field. Twins not too intimidated, worried about a left-hander facing Bruce Chen. Mauer a left-hander, Rosario, Schaefer back-to-back left-handers in the lineup against Chen. 1 strike. Inside, a ball.
Twins have hit left-handed pitching pretty well so far this year. Of course, they're missing a very big component of that today in Trevor Plouffe. who really hits left-handers well historically and is off to a good start against them this year.
1-1. Little roller. Ramirez scoops and throws low. Just barely got him.
That's a fine play on both ends right there. Very nice play by the shortstop and a pick by Santana at first base to get the speedy Schaefer.
And Schaefer will tell you if his leg was feeling better, he would have beaten that out. He's got a toe issue and a knee issue.
You watch how the shortstop circles that, comes in, gets rid of it quickly, and then Santana stretched out. Now watch when Santana stretches out, if we can see it here. Umpire blocked our view. The shortstop did a nice job of circling that ball, coming in and throwing in one motion.
Santana takes a strike.
So Schaefer slaps it. Shortstop circles, throws. Santana stretches out and then holds his glove back to catch an in-between hop. Very nice play.
Very quick second inning for Bruce Chen. Twins go down 1-2-3.
Phil Hughes had a 1-2-3 first inning, which was a great improvement from his last start on Monday when he gave up a grand slam in the first inning to Stephen Vogt of the Oakland A's. Hughes said that it is hard to clear your mind and forget about an inning like that. He said you regroup as best you can, but you know, whatever you do, your outing is not going to be pretty. So you try to move on, put up zeros when you can, and Hughes was able to do that. He said he doesn't like going through the bad stretches that he has been going through, but he did say, Dick and Roy, that every time he hits a roadblock, he feels like he's at least learning something from it.
Dozier from right field retires Moss at first base, one away after a shattered bat. Thank you, Marty. Tigers went to bed last night worried about David Price, who stepped on a bat. He's the subject of our Sanford Health injury report. He has reported today that he will make his next start against the Twins. That's not good news for Twins fans because he's already stuck it to the Twins twice. Kind of a scary moment. But then the Tigers woke up today and they scratched Alex Avila with a forearm strain last night. And it must have shifted on him because today they put him on the disabled list with floating bodies in his knee. And he very possibly is going to have surgery. It might be gone for a while. The pop up behind third, and Escobar with the catch, 2 down. 2015 Esurance All-Star Game voting is now open. You can vote Twins up to 35 times on the 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot at twinsbaseball.com. Voting is exclusively online and available on your computer, tablet, and smartphone. We invite you to vote early, vote often. Help select the Starting lineups for the 2015 All-Star Game. Vote at twinsbaseball.com right now. Here's Nick Swisher. And he's trying to beat the shift with a bunt hard up the third baseline, but it's foul, 1 strike. Twins shifted Swisher last night, and they'll do so again even after the bunt attempt.
Well, interesting about the technology and the scouting report that leads to these shifts. We'll talk about it during the course of the game. But notice that most of the time the shift will happen after there's a strike. And the reason for that is because they're protecting against just what happened there with Swisher trying to bunt the ball to beat the shift. So basically the scouting report says if they're trying to go that way, but until they get a strike, we won't shift. Once they get to 1 strike on them, they won't try that anymore. Obviously, the scouting report on Swisher is that he's not going to try that at all, and he tried to fool him.
And he beat the shift again with a roller up the middle. He's still got knee issues, doesn't run well. Gets the first base hit with 2 out in the 2nd inning. That'll bring up Michael Bourne.
So what the Twins try to do is get everybody around to the right, thinking that the ball's going to be hit from straightaway shortstop around the first base line. But they can't put somebody right behind the bag. They can't have 4 guys from second base over, and he just beat the shift.
Here's Michael Bourne. Chopped foul, 1 strike.
And I think it's interesting that the scouting reports and the technology that are occurring today for teams and the amount of thought process that goes behind it gets to the point where they want to wait for a strike until they shift against a lot of guys to take away the hitter's temptation to try and beat it early in the count.
Another foul, 2 strikes.
As a hitter, you're up there. You might give away 1 strike trying to hit the ball the other way or bunt the ball the other way. But you don't want to do it with 1 strike, because if it's foul, now you put yourself in the hole 0-2, and so you tend not to do it. So that's when the team will shift after 1 strike. Pretty interesting thought processes going on around the battles between pitchers and hitters and infielders now.
1-2. Hughes mixing in an off-speed pitch.
Yeah, there's a pitch I'd like to see Phil Hughes throw an awful lot more. Just show the hitters something else besides the fastball and cutter that we know are going to be strikes almost all the time. Big league hitters get used to that speed, and they know they're going to get a strike. They get pretty aggressive. Just show them something slower every once in a while.
And Hughes fans on it. And Swisher will gain second base. Looked like Hughes had a play to be made, and he just missed it with his glove. First and second, 2 down.
Well, Bert calls it pitcher's fielding practice. Here's a one hopper that he's going to be very disappointed he didn't make that play. Spring training, coaches hit fungo after fungo back at the pitchers. They try to make plays to second base. Just didn't work that time.
Here is the only right-handed batter in the Cleveland lineup tonight, catcher Roberto Perez. Breaking ball hits the corner, strike 1. And Hughes is pitching reverse splits, if you will. Right-handers, given the 2 hits here today now by Swisher and Bourne, are left-handers, but right-handers are hitting .342 against Hughes. And left-handers, you'd think they'd hit Hughes better than right-handers would, and it's just the opposite. Why would that be?
I'm not really sure, except that for the most part, Phil Hughes tends to be a high fastball pitcher. Right-handers, generally speaking, better against high fastballs than left-handers.
Just missed 1-1.
Left-handers tend to be low ball hitters. Phil Hughes, mostly a middle to upper strike zone pitcher. So that could be one reason.
There are some switch hitters for Cleveland. Santana, Swisher, Ramirez, the next batter. 1-1. Another breaking pitch missing, and it's 2-1. But this is very much a left-handed lineup, and that's one of the reasons the Indians have struggled again this year against left-handed pitching. Problem is the Twins don't have any left-handed starters. 2-1 from Hughes to Perez. Hit a home run against Hughes in Minnesota in the middle of April. Tapper to short. And Santana ends the threat. A couple of singles do no damage, and Torrey Hunter will hit in the 3rd inning as the Twins hope to expand a 1-0 lead.
By CenturyLink, your link to what's next. By NorthlandFord.com and your local Northland Ford dealer. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here.
Off the very top of the wall, Dozier digging for second, and he's in with a stand-up double. He missed a home run on the inning's first pitch by inches. Dozier called out on strikes to start the ball game, and he jumped all over the first pitch and nearly made it 2-0.
Really good swing by Brian. He gets a hanging breaking ball and hits it. He thinks it's out all the way. It's a home run most places, just straight away left field. But that big wall out there in left field got him. It's the very, very top of the wall, bounces right back to Brantley in left field. And it's a good thing Brian decided to turn on the Jets a little bit. That would have been pretty embarrassing to get thrown out at second base.
Here's Torrey Hunter, another extra base hit, another home run. He is locked in. And he fouls the first pitch away. It's easy to talk of Hunter's value to the team now. He's hitting, the team is hitting. 4th in the American League in runs scored this year. And since August 1st of last year, no team in baseball scored more runs than the Twins. Hunter wasn't a part of that. Of course, he was still with the Tigers on August 1st last year. Throughout his career, Torrey Hunter has been a T-Mobile game changer versus Cleveland. His ranks against the Indians among active players are impressive. First in hits, RBI, and runs. Second in home runs now with 35. 2 strikes. And down and away, ball 1. Two and two. I think the most important thing he's done might be off the field, away from the stats, helped hold things together after that rugged first week. 2-2 to Hunter. Drilled foul.
I was just thinking about that very point, Dick. You got two guys on the Twins team that are very, very even-keeled, very mellow personalities. I guess you wouldn't call Torey mellow, but he doesn't allow himself ever to get down on himself or down about what's going on. Manager Paul Molitor was certainly that way after the 1-6 start. His demeanor didn't change. He was communicating how things would turn around. Torey's all about that. He's always the same positive guy. I think those two guys' personalities are really, really good for this ball club.
Another 2-2 and another one drilled. I don't know how this at bat's going to have a happy ending for Bruce Chen.
Torey's locked in right now against anybody, and he has not been fooled on one pitch yet from Chen.
2-2. Twins trying to take advantage of yet another double. Dozier's leadoff double here in the third. Into right field, a base hit. Another line drive. Dozier will be held with Hunter having another good at bat and another solidly stroked base hit. First and third, nobody out.
Well, he got a fastball, and Torey being locked in the way he is, not trying to do too much with it. With 2 strikes, he's seen a lot of slow stuff that he hit to left field. Down the left field line, he waits and drives the ball the other way. What a great at bat that was. So easy when you're going as well as Torey is. He hit a bunch of extra base hits, a bunch of home runs. He's in kind of a home run binge right now. Easy to get big in your mind about what you're going to do. You're seeing the ball well, and Torey, being the veteran that he is, with 2 strikes, just said, "Okay, I'm going to take what is given to me. I'm not going to be so far out in front." But look at where Gene Glynn is. We talked about this last night. He gets way down the line. Dozier thinking he's going to score. Look how far Dozier can come before he puts on the brakes. That allows the third base coach to keep him coming. If there's a bobble out in the outfield, he can go ahead and score. He hasn't had to hold him up too soon. If the coach is in the third base coaching box, he's got to hold him up right away at the bag. But when he's down the line like that, the runner can come a long way around the bag and score on some balls that he wouldn't ordinarily or otherwise score on.
Dozier's able to get a big lead because Chisenhall's playing well off the bag. Dozier, when the pickoff throw has been delivered to first twice now, has scampered a couple steps toward home plate. 1-1 to Mauer. Mauer singled sharply to right field his first time up. Swing and a miss. And it's 1-2. Twins got 3 straight hits in the first, scored a run on the Hunter home run. Now a pair of hits have started the third inning. Mauer strikes out, leaving Hunter at first, Dozier at third for the time being. See Joe being struck out on an 84-mile-per-hour fastball very often.
No, he's just not feeling good at all right now at the plate. He's not seeing it well, or his mechanics are a little off, which is affecting his brain maybe a little bit. But he's clearly not normal Joe right now. Just not swinging good.
Suzuki singled up the middle. His first time up.
Here's another one of those innings. You can't let too many of these go by without knocking the pitcher out right here. You get these opportunities, get guys on base with no out, now 1 out. You got to get these guys in, get in the bullpen. It sets up the rest of the series. That They were already into the bullpen. The Twins were into the Cleveland bullpen last night. They get Chen out of the game early today, make the bullpen close it out. It really changes the complexion of the game tomorrow for Terry Francona over in the opposite dugout.
3 hits last night. He hit it his first time up. Just off the corner. It looked like that had the plate. 1-1. Where was this pitch? Broke around it.
Yep, broke around it. One of the harder breaking balls that Chen will throw. He'll throw breaking balls at all different kinds of speeds.
And fouled away. 1-2. Take your family to the ballpark this summer in the Minnesota Twins. Our family section presented by Fox Sports North. Tickets in this alcohol-free section start at just $10. Include a free Schweigert hot dog and Pepsi. For ticket information, visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on upcoming events on the Hot Topics bar. 1-2 to Suzuki. Throw to first. Royals cuffed around Anibal Sanchez, beat the Tigers 6-2 earlier this afternoon. If the Twins win today, they'll be a game behind the Tigers and a game and a half behind the first place Royals. Chance here to take a step in that direction. Hunter took off on the last pitch. Chen keeping at least one eye on him. Flipped foul into the seat. Suzuki not wanting to take a chance with 2 strikes that off-speed pitch would bend over the outside corner. In the last 14 games, the team hitting .300, averaging 6.7 runs per game. And you mix in some improved pitching, and it's no mystery as to why this team has climbed 4 games above the .500 mark.
You bet. They've been hitting with runners in scoring position in very big situations.
And Suzuki, rarely will you see him chase a ball outside the strike zone, much less a foot outside. 2 down.
Well, this is not staying behind your swing at all. As we talked about what he felt like he was doing better, this is just kind of a brain cramp. You can see Kurt really not happy with himself. Really didn't see that ball very well at all.
Twins with a great chance, first and third, nobody out. The 3 and 4 hitters have each struck out, and now this 3rd inning rally left in the hands of Kenny Vargas. Vargas with a fly ball to center, his first time up. Big swing and a miss. Chen dialing up to 87 miles per hour.
Really humped up on that one.
Chen with 13 of 14 first pitch strikes. And that might be the fastest pitch that Vargas sees.
Or anyone else.
Checked his swing, 1-1. Happened so often during the homestand when hitters earlier in the lineup failed with 2 outs. Someone would come up with a big hit. It's Vargas's opportunity to do that here in the 3rd. Off the plate, 2-1. Line to left and a base hit. And Vargas with a big 2-out hit. It's 2-0. appropriate, I guess, on the fishing opener. Vargas wouldn't let Chen off the hook.
And wouldn't go fishing for those outside changeups, and he stays back very, very nicely. This is a big hit, 2-out hit. What the Twins have been doing in this nice streak they've had. Somebody has gotten the hit that they needed when others have not. Right in this inning, it's Kenny Vargas. That's a very, very big run right there. Momentum shifts back to Chen and the Indians a bit if they don't, if the Twins don't take advantage of the first two guys getting on.
See if Escobar can back it up. To the inside corner, strike one. Strike two at the belt. Twins with 6 hits against Chen and 14 at bats. See what Escobar can get done. Escobar left 2 men on at first and second in his first inning at bat. Up the middle, into center field, cut off by the shortstop. Here comes Hunter. He's coming home and he'll score. Ramirez caught it, and Gene Glenn sending Hunter through. It's an RBI single and another big 2-out hit for the Twins.
Really nice play by the shortstop, but even better play by Gene Glenn and Torrey Hunter. Escobar, good 2-out hitting, rolls the ball up the middle. The shortstop dives and knocks it down. Now he's got to stand up right there. There's no way he's going to throw a runner who doesn't stop out at the plate. He did his job by keeping the ball in the infield with 2 out and a runner on second. That's what you're taught to do, but now you got to get up quickly and do your best to make a strong throw at the plate. But good on Torrey Hunter for running hard all the way, and Gene Glenn for sending him. It's a good gamble with 2 out because you don't have to hope the next guy gets a hit. It's a good risk reward right there with 2 out. Gene Glenn won that little gamble.
Strike one to Rosario. He's had 4 different run producing plate appearances, 4 runs batted in his first 3 games. Swing and a miss, 0-2. For the first time in his brief major league career, we saw a lot of that last night. Swings and misses. Hit a ground ball to Santana his first time today. 0-2. To left field, down for a hit. Vargas around third. He's coming in. Bradley's throw cut off. Vargas will score. Escobar in a rundown. The Indians are trying to get the 3rd out. They finally get it. 3 2-out RBI singles for the Twins. Another one for Rosario, and it's 4-0.
CenturyLink, your link to what's next. By NorthlandFord.com and your local Northland Ford dealer. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here.
Phil Hughes now staked to a 4-0 lead. First pitch, strike one to Jose Ramirez. Scoreboard has strike one. We have 1-0. I think we're right. I didn't see Doug Eddings' right hand come up, so we believe the count is 2-0. Number 9 batter Ramirez facing Phil Hughes. 2-1. Ramirez, a switch hitter, struggling. Hughes gave up a couple of 2-out hits, but no damage done in the second. Chopped up the line, a foul ball. What the Twins just did in the top of this inning, they got 3 hits. Actually, they got 4 hits with runners in scoring position. Only 3 of them produced runs, but the 2-out hits that the Twins got equals the total number of hits with men in scoring position for the Indians against the Twins all year long. And Ramirez, a foul tip. Suzuki hangs on one away. Indians just 3 for 26 with men in scoring position against the Twins this year. A limited number of season tickets are now available in the Delta Sky 360 Legends Club. You can experience every home game in the always comfortable Legends Club. Padded seats, unique food items, in-seat service, everything that makes the Delta Sky 360 Legends Club the perfect combination of luxury and baseball. Call 833-TWINS for Legends Club season ticket information, or right now you can go to twinsbaseball.com as well. 1-0 to Jason Kipnis, lined out to Eddie Rosario, his first time up. And a strike called, 1-1. Indians are just 4-9 at home, just 6-15 against divisional opponents. Slapped foul, 1-2. We were talking about this before. Make no question, the Twins are playing good baseball, but they have discovered that everybody that they have faced, with the exception of the Detroit Tigers, they have some warts. There are some problems. The Indians have many problems right now. The ball hit hard to the left field corner and foul. We saw that against the White Sox. We saw it against the A's. We saw it in Seattle against the Mariners. Twins have played the Royals even up, 3 wins, 3 losses.
And I actually think the Royals have the most complete ball club that I've seen, with the exception of somebody hitting fourth that's going to hit 35 home runs. I think that's a pretty complete ball club when their closer Brad Holland is healthy. I agree with you. Everybody else, I haven't seen anybody else in the league that doesn't have a fairly significant weakness somewhere.
Grounded to the right side. Dozier from short right field throws out Kipnis, 2 down. Now the Tigers looked awfully good both in Detroit and in Minnesota, but now they were dealt a blow. Today, Alex Avila, their great catcher, is on the disabled list with a knee issue. And Avila said he's hoping to take care of it, hoping to come back ready to go in the second half of the year. Well, that suggests that he might be done for the first half of the year. And all you need to do is look here in Cleveland and see how important their starting catcher is. Yan Gomes went out early, and a lot of the issues that they've got, they haven't pitched well, they haven't hit well, center around the injury to a guy who might be their most indispensable player, their catcher, Yan Gomes. There's Gomes on the sideline with a knee injury. 1-1. Just missed the inside corner. 2-1.
I like the way Phil Hughes is pitching Santana here. He's starting with that breaking ball that we were talking about earlier for a strike, which really puts some doubt in the hitter's mind. Then he's gone inside hard twice. That makes that ball that runs away a little bit tougher to hit. Now, with the count 2-2, the hitter has seen a slow curveball. He's been busted in twice and seen a running fastball on the outside corner. That would indicate that he has absolutely no idea what might be coming now, and that's a tough position for a hitter to be in.
Now the Twins, with 2 strikes this time, shifted Escobar to the right side of the infield. We've seen him make that shift. You explained why an inning or so ago, but now with 2 strikes, they pull the third baseman to the right side of the infield. 2-2 from Hughes to Santana. Tried the outside corner with that cutter, just missed. Hughes, despite his slower start this year, has still walked just 4 men in over 40 innings. Santana, as you said, though, a guy who draws a lot of walks. High fly, very short center field. And Schaefer comes in, and Hughes has a 1-2-3 third inning. Thank you, Tom. Jordan Schaefer takes strike 1 to start the 4th inning. We hope everyone has had some success. Will have some success. You'll be safe for the fishing opener. 1 strike to Schaefer, then Santana and Dozier. Outside a ball, 1-1. Remember, it's probably been 20 years ago already. Out of the fishing opener with snowflakes falling. Caught fish. That's all I really cared about.
That's all that really matters, right?
1-2 to Schaefer. Twins have 8 hits in 16 at-bats against Bruce Chen. Dribbled foul. One of the differences that the Twins hope will bear fruit eventually, if need be. They feel like they have better pitching depth than they've had in quite some time. They've got Tommy Malone, who pitched well last night at AAA. That one into center field. Ramirez. Oh, they got him. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that Schaefer beat that one out.
It looked to me like he did.
Good play by Ramirez, but I think Schaefer is going to at least have the umpires take a look at that again.
Yeah, I hope so. I'd like to see it with the live naked eye. It looked like he beat it.
Schaefer, though, is heading back to the dugout.
I'm surprised at his reaction.
Nearly got an infield hit in the 2nd.
Shortstop makes a really, really nice play to get a lot on the throw. That was closer than I thought it was, closer to being out. You know, it's tough for a manager to challenge when your runner goes in the dugout.
Paul Molitor says, let's play. So, and Schaefer, the runner, usually knows whether he's beaten a play or not. Headed back to the dugout. Another close play for Schaefer. Another out. Here's Danny Santana. Ball one. Anyway, taking another look at Schaefer going down the line. Yeah. 1-1 to Santana. We were talking about the Twins pitching depth. They really tried to beef it up during the offseason. Had the much publicized battle for the 5th starter spot. Won by Tommy Malone, and then the Irvin Santana thing forced the Twins to use that starting pitching depth earlier than they would have wanted. Ricky Nolasco has spent some time on the disabled list. There's so much focus in a team starting 5, but in reality, you better have at least 7 or 8 guys ready to come up and win a ball game for you over the course of the year, because something invariably is going to happen. 2-2, 3-2.
Well, obviously, the ideal situation is to have 2 or 3 young guns that are going to be big league pitchers at some point in time, waiting their turn while guys ahead of them at the big league level are doing a good job. But if they don't do a good job or get hurt, then you want to be able to have somebody, as you say, to come in there. The Twins have not been in that position for a long time, and they're just now starting to get to the point where they would be in the position about which you speak. It's been a long time before they were comfortable with the top 5 plus 2 or 3 guys in the minor leagues coming.
Driven to right, Moss under it. Out number 2. Back to the top of the order, and Brian Dozier, our Carsoup.com trivia question. Which Twins player has the most career hits against the Indians?
Well, we know who has the most hits per at bat, right?
Yeah.
Because that was last night.
Wouldn't it be the same guy?
I have a hard time believing that.
Dozier. First pitch grounded behind third. Chisenhall with a good play and a strong throw to get Dozier at first. A 1-2-3 fourth for Bruce Chen. .500 mark in today's game. Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with AYSO, the world's largest soccer club. Go to aso.org/play to find your region. Sign up for your fall team today. Michael Brantley will lead off the 4th against Phil Hughes.
Talking earlier about Michael Brantley's first at bat, about him being the best hitter on this Indians team. Of course, that's true by a great degree, but he's just one of the best hitters in the game now.
Fly to right field, fairly deep. Hunter glides after it, makes the catch, one away.
It's been fun watching Michael Bradley's development, actually. He came up as a pretty good-looking prospect. Looked like he had a chance to be a good hitter, and then all of a sudden just has exploded into a very complete hitter, both on-base percentage and slugging percentage. Just a really good hitter and a good guy.
Here's Brandon Moss. Bounce to Brian Dozier his first time up. Over the inside corner. It appears from up here that Hughes has got a little bit better command, and he's hitting his spots a little bit better than he has in some of his early starts. Check swing and a foul. 0-2.
Boy, I'd love to see him coming inside on left-handers like that too. Something that he, and you're right, you're absolutely right, Dick. He much better command with a fastball. When he has that kind of command, he can get by with fastball and cutter. And he can't when he's in relatively the middle of the zone all the time, which has kind of been the case early in his starts. But he's throwing the ball where he wants to, much better today. And mixing in that one, I think that makes a huge difference. I will contend as a hitter that back and forth is more important and more significant for a pitcher against a hitter than in and out. And
by that you mean change of speeds.
Change in speeds, right.
Another breaking ball, and Mauer feeds Hughes, who got there just ahead of Moss, 2 away.
A big league hitter, if you're seeing the same speed all the time, can adjust to a pitcher going in and out. Ken Griffey Jr. used to always say, I go up and decide which side of the plate I'm going to look for the pitch. I'm either going to look middle in or I'm going to look middle away. And so in and out, if you throw me all fastballs and you're moving it in and out, I'm going to be right on most pitches that I want to be on. But if you're back and forth throwing me hard inside and then something slow and then hard outside and back inside and then something slow again, you put an awful lot more doubt in my mind than one speed all over the plate. Beautiful. I love that get me over curveball from Phil Hughes. It not only gets him a strike right there, but it also plants the seed here to Chisenhall that, gosh, am I going to see a bunch of those this at bat? And once you have that in your mind, then that fastball inside is faster. The runner outside doesn't have as good a swing at that.
No, busted bat on a fastball.
That breaking ball right there made the fastball get right in on his fist.
Third 1-2-3 inning for Phil Hughes today. Torrey Hunter will lead off the 5th against Bruce Chen, and he takes outside ball 1. Wasn't there, isn't there a TV show called Hot in Cleveland? Torrey Hunter's hot in Cleveland. He's 6 for 6 with a walk. And he takes a strike, 1-1.
And pretty much has been his whole career.
4 extra base hits, 2 home runs, a bases clearing double that broke the game open last night. Snap bat. Chisenhall to his left, fires off target, and Hunter might be given an infield hit on that play. It is an infield hit. He's 7 for 7 this weekend in Cleveland. In his last 9 games, Torrey hitting the ball as well as he did in his prime.
Yeah, he's locked in. As I mentioned before, Chen had got in and is down below the label on the last one, but everything else has been right in the middle of the sweet spot.
So we'll find out, won't we, whether it's the arrow or the Indian, because the bat's gone. He's got to come back in the next at bat with a different bat. Outside, ball 1. Mauer with a single and a strikeout. For a brief time, they gave Mauer a double in his first inning at bat last night, only to take it away again today. Outside, and it's 2-0.
Yeah, that's an interesting official scoring rule.
The Indians challenged, and the challenge itself was up for dispute. 2-0 to Mauer. And now 3-0.
I thought that once Joe beat his foot beat the throw of the bag, and he was safe to begin with, and then his top front foot slid up and over the bag, and Kipnis tagged him on his knee coming in later.
And a strike, 3-1.
So I thought that he had gained the base, was safe, and then tagged out for oversliding. But the official scoring rules state that unless he has been safe and attained that bag, that an oversliding doesn't count as having attained it. You have to attain the bag first to get the double.
See it every once in a while in stolen bases. Someone will steal a base, and then the argument is, well, he was on the bag, he had stolen it, then came off the bag. Do you give him a stolen base or not?
Yeah, and I think in that case you don't, and so that's the perfect analogy. I think you're absolutely right about that. That's a good example of why the rule is the way it is.
There's a high fly to left with Hunter taking off on the pitch. Back to the wall is Brantley. Can't make the play. Hunter had rounded second. He'll gain third and be held there. Mauer banging one just out of the reach of Brantley, who's down in a catcher's crouch against the left field fence. He appears to be fine. Now, earlier, Dozier hit a ball that you accurately said would have been a home run everywhere else. This might have been an out just about everywhere else except here.
Right, he hit it to a perfect spot. This is a home run in Yankee Stadium, and that's about it. Joe getting good wood on the ball, hit it about 330 feet to straightaway left field. That's close. That wall out there is high but close to straightaway left field. Brantley goes up, tries to get to it. Torrey did a nice job, went right to second base, had 1 foot on second. Wait to see whether the ball was caught or not. If it had been caught, he would have retreated, retouched, and retreated to first. But when the ball went off the wall, Torrey had ideas of scoring. Gene Glenn correctly, I think, with nobody out, held him up. They've got something going here. Again, with runners on second and third, they'll walk Suzuki to load him up.
He is, after all, the cleanup hitter. So they'll be loaded for Kenny Vargas.
Yeah, and I think this is less about rather pitching to Vargas than Suzuki than it is about just getting the opportunity to maybe get a double play out of Vargas. They can't really play the infield in here against Suzuki. He could make the score 5-0 just with a ground ball out. So they'll put him on.
Terry Francona coming to the mound here. He may make a pitching change.
He'll make a change and get the pitcher that he wants against Vargas.
quick trip to the mound by the Cleveland manager. Vargas with an RBI spot. 10 hits for the Twins, and maybe the biggest one was Vargas's 2-out single in the third. Chen leaves, having given up 10 hits to the Twins in 4+ innings. Pepsi fans of the game. A lot of Twins fans here this weekend. I've run into a number of them, and maybe they picked a good weekend to come. The Twins winning handily last night and have a chance to bust the game open here in the 5th inning this late Saturday afternoon. Mark Zepchinski comes in, one of 2 left-handers the Indians have in their bullpen.
Manager Terry Francona electing to go with Zepchinski against Kenny Vargas. He didn't want to see Vargas up against the softer throwing Bruce Chen. So he'll bring in Zepchinski, who's got 10 strikeouts in 7 2/3 innings so far in this early season. So the ability to strike guys out. And Francona obviously wants a harder throwing guy, chance to strike Vargas out here.
Inside, ball 1. Twins were leading just 1-0. They had a double and a single that started the 3rd inning. Then Mauer and Suzuki struck out. It looked like the Twins were going to have the rally evaporate. Then Vargas, then Escobar, then Rosario all delivered RBI 2-out hits. That broke the game open a bit, making it 4-0. And now 2-0 to Vargas.
That was a huge base hit. There's no question. The biggest one of the game, getting the Twins off on the right foot. Torrey Hunter with a home run in the 1st inning. But after a couple innings where they looked like Chen might wriggle out of some trouble, Kenny Vargas kept the inning alive.
3-0 with the bases loaded. Vargas has drawn 7 walks, all of them unintentional, in now 90 at-bats.
I think you take here 3-0, gives a hitter a chance to get a really good look at the pitch. He's probably going to get 3-1 and give the guy a chance to walk it. So there's the pitch right there. You take that. The odds are that he's going to throw another ball in the next 3 pitches before he throws a strike. So you get a run on a walk there. But also you give the hitter a chance to look at the fastball that on 3-0 that he's probably going to get 3-1.
Chopper towards second. No RBI. A run does come in. It's 5-0. And on the play, Mauer to third. Hunter crossing the plate with the 5th run. And that'll bring up Escobar. Escobar hitting sub 200 as a right-handed batter, but he got a big RBI hit in the 3rd. He's 1 for 2, and we'll have another right-handed at bat against Zepchinski. On the outside corner, a strike.
Nice movement on that fastball by Zepchinski. He threw a nice 3-1 fastball. it wasn't exactly the same fastball that I said he was going to get 3-1 that he got 3-0. It had a lot more sink on it to Vargas.
0-2. Hey, let's take a moment here and wish twin Oswaldo Arcia a happy 24th birthday. Oswaldo back home in the Twin Cities on the disabled list, presumably watching the game tonight. So I hope your 24th is a good one.
Absolutely. Feliz cumpleaños.
Toward the hole and through. Escobar with another big 2-out RBI hit. And the Twins now lead 6-0.
Absolutely the biggest difference in the Twins early this season than what we've seen for a long time is 2-out clutch hitting. 2-strike breaking ball, too much of the plate from the pitcher standpoint, but real good hitting by Escobar. The Twins hitting extremely well with runners in scoring position and over 280 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, which is outstanding.
All 6 runs charged to Bruce Chen, runner at first with 2 down. Rosario so far 3 for 7 against left-handed pitching. Strike over the inside corner. Twins now in 14 innings have scored in 9 different innings in this series. And you can't do that, I don't think, unless you've got pretty good balance up and down your lineup in terms of a lot of guys going at the same time. The biggest hits here in the ball game have been produced by Vargas, Escobar, and Rosario. Even though, and we say that with all due respect to Torrey Hunter, who's 7 for 7 with a walk in this series. 2 strikes to Rosario. Oh my goodness, look at that. Rolling a base hit through the left side. Rosario has another hit.
The young man can just hit, and
good things happen if you put the ball in play.
Well, and put the ball in play with authority with the big end of the bat, which he is able to do. And when you watch his hands through the zone here, waits a long time, and boy, the big end just, as I said the other night, when his hands decide to swing, the big end's coming with him. It doesn't lag at all, and that's a great trait that he has, and the ability to use all fields. What I like is the fact that he struck out 3 times in a row to end the game, end his night last night, and comes back right away with the confidence and the offense today.
Strike on the outside corner to Jordan Schaefer, who has been denied 2 infield hits twice on bang plays at first base. Each time the shortstop Ramirez threw him out. And now 0-2. A dozen hits for the Twins. Schaefer looking for his first. And Schaefer strikes out. Zipchinski finally puts an end to the inning, but put 2 more up on the board for the Twins at 6-0.
6-0 here at Progressive Field in Cleveland. Twins fans, don't forget at Twins home games, bring your Circle Me signs. And if you get circled, you may find yourself in the Minnesota Lottery Winner's Circle, where you could win $100 worth of lottery scratch-off tickets, courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery.
Lead continues to mount for Phil Hughes, 6-0. Nick Swisher, Michael Bourne, and Perez will hit. Swisher and Bourne have the only hits against Hughes. They were both, as it turned out, harmless 2-out singles. Twins are leaving Escobar on the left side of the infield, a little bit closer to the third base bag. Swisher tried to bunt his way aboard before singling up the middle. Up and away, ball one. Here are the Twins with a win today. If they get the win, they're 5 games above 500. Here's a ball hit to short center, and that'll die between Santana and Schaefer. Swisher's not really stinging the ball, but he is picking up some hits, and the Indians will take it. That'll bring up Michael Bourne. If the Twins win today and get to 5 games above 500, just think of it in terms of what they thought they had in terms of starting pitching coming out of spring training. Phil Hughes, by his own admission, has not pitched like an opening day starter. He is looking pretty good here today, but to this point, he's been disappointed with his season. Mauer gets the force at second, return to first. Not in time. Bourne reaches on a fielder's choice. The number 2 starter coming out of spring training hasn't pitched. Irvin Santana's in Florida someplace and won't be eligible to come back and help this team until early July. And despite all that, the Twins have the 5th best record in the American League.
Well, they have pitched very, very well. There's no question about it. The starting staff has really picked it up after the first week. Kyle Gibson has pitched very, very well. He looks like he's becoming the starter that everybody thought 2 years ago that he was going to be. Trevor May has really, really been encouraging the way he's used fastball, curveball, and changeup so effectively, keeping hitters off balance. Mike Pelfrey is doing the same thing with good moving fastballs and splitter. So there's a reason why. I mean, the starting pitching has given the club a chance, and concurrently the Twins started swinging the bats.
Check swing, they'll appeal, and a strike. 0-2 to Roberto Perez.
So to your point, if Phil Hughes gets going like he did about this time last year and pitched so effectively through the end of the season, you get Phil Hughes going, continue with those other young guys, May and Gibson, pitching the way they're pitching. Great pitch there.
Perez is gone on 3 pitches.
Just absolutely locked him up with that breaking ball.
May 26th is Healthcare Professionals Night at Target Field. Special ticket packages are available. That includes exclusive Twins branded scrubs. There are a limited number of ticket packages available, and your only way to get your Twins scrubs, visit twinsbaseball.com/healthcare for tickets and more info. Trevor May will pitch tomorrow. The starting rotation that's taken its turn essentially since this nearly a 4-week-long surge has been going on for the Twins. Nolasco was on the disabled list, but he's back in there now. If the Twins had a depth chart for starting pitching, you know, like they do in football, they have a depth chart. The starters, as they were ranked coming out of spring training, who are now in the rotation, would be numbers 1, 3, 4, 6, and 7. You got Hughes, Nolasco, Gibson, Pelfrey, and May. And we talked earlier about pitching depth and how you've got to have it. And the Twins have just had to use it earlier than anybody else. So when Santana comes back in July, if Malone ever comes back, I mean, it's mission accomplished in terms of lengthening the potential list of starters who have, you know, capability of pitching a game or 2 or 3 and giving you a chance to win. 2-1 to Ramirez. Tap foul, 2-2.
Well, I hope that by July or whenever it is that Ervin Santana is ready to pitch effectively, that there are a couple of Twins pitchers that are going to be really upset and have a very, very difficult decision time for Paul Molitor, because there'll be 7 guys pitching well enough to be in the starting rotation. Only 5 are going to be able to. That'll be a wonderful situation.
Leadoff single, but then Hughes gets the next 3 batters. 5 shutout innings here this afternoon in Cleveland. Six nothing Twins. See, Roy Smalley filling in for Bert on this road trip. You and I have different interests. I love hunting and fishing, and I don't believe that's a fascination of yours. For instance, I know what a lazy Ike is. And for you, it's probably some sedentary uncle you had a long time ago. I fished with lazy Ikes.
I like hunting for birdies.
Golf birdies.
Yes.
Danny Santana leading it off against the new Cleveland pitcher. Webb out of the bullpen. There's a strike on the outside corner. Santana is 0 for 2. Then Dozier and Hunter. Flipped foul, 2 strikes. Twins knocked out starter Bruce Chen in the 5th inning. He didn't retire a batter. On the ground, Kipnis has it. Santana retired, 1 away. And that'll bring up Brian Dozier.
Stepping in for the Twins, number 2, Brian Dozier.
Brian Dozier once again, just an interesting study in a ball player and a hitter. Hitting .235 coming into the ball game, which he would be the first to tell you he'd like to see that at least 40 points higher. And yet, 3rd in the league coming into the game with 9 doubles. He's got 22 runs scored in the top 5 in that category. Again, on pace to score well over 100.
There's a blast to left. He might score on this.
Yeah, he's going to score himself on this one. He thought he had the last one, but there was no doubt in anybody's mind right there. And it just looked, I was going to say, it just looked like Brian was starting to heat up a little bit. He had to hit 2 balls hard today. Got robbed a couple of times, hit some balls hard the last few games that were not hits. It just looked like he was starting to swing it pretty well today. Very, very good example.
A double in his last at bat last night.
Hanging breaking ball. Dangerous pitch to most hitters, but Brian's really pretty good at hanging breaking balls against right-handed hitters. He sees those early and hits those pretty well.
Strike over the inside corner. Dozier doubled against Webb in the ball game last night in the 9th inning. Now Hunter at the plate, and the Indians literally have not gotten him out yet. 7 for 7 with a walk. And he's up there with a new bat. He got an infield hit in the 5th, but it shattered his bat. That's how good a bat it was. It died a hero. It got him maybe all 6 of his hits earlier in the series, and then even in cracking it got him a base hit.
That's a bat you really shed a tear over losing, I'm telling you.
1-2. All right, 15 innings. And the Twins have scored in 10 of them. Down and away, 2-2. Bouncer to short, and it's booted by the shortstop. It'll be an error. His hit string will end, but the Indians still have not found out a way to get Torrey Hunter out. That ball hit the edge of the infield grass and kind of scooted. It's no excuse, but it did not give him a true hop.
Well, it did exactly that. You see it hit and scoot and change the whole complexion of the ground ball. When you're an infielder, you start reading hops right away. He knows where this is going, and then all of a sudden it scooted and changed the whole trajectory and complexion of how he was going after that ground ball. You're right, no excuse. That's just an error that you make sometimes when the ball does something that much different than a normal routine 2-hopper.
Strike 1 to Mauer. 2 hits today, including a double off the fence in left and a run scored. This is amazing, Roy. Here we are. We're just in the 6th inning. The Twins already have 7 runs. That's been the norm for a long while now. Rare is the game that they don't score 6-7 a game. Oh, 2 to Mauer.
Well, they've been swinging the bats very, very well, but the main thing that they've been doing, and we saw it in this game here again today, when they get an opportunity, when a couple of guys get on, whether it's them hitting themselves on or.
Mauer with a bouncer to short. Ramirez steps on the bag and starts a double play. But the Twins score again in the 6th on a Dozier home run.
4th is presented by Toyota. The Toyota Time Sales Event ends June 1st. Hurry in today. Toyota, let's go places. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. Hot and humid in Cleveland, and the Twins are hotter than the weather. 7 runs already. Phil Hughes has been very good with 5 shutout innings, 3 harmless singles, no walks. And Jason Kipnis takes strike 1. There's been a lot of that first pitch strike throwing by Hughes. He'll face Kipnis, Santana, and Brantley in the 6th. Off the plate, 1-1. In the last 10 games, the Twins have been held to fewer than 5 runs twice. And they won one of those games 1-0. They lost the other one 2-1. And into center field, Kipnis has a base hit leading off the 6th. Update on tonight's DraftKings players to watch. Brian Dozier with a double and a home run. Dallas Keuchel's been outstanding for the Astros. Giancarlo Stanton, very good against one of the game's best. And no home runs yet for Bryce Harper, but the Nationals are leading the Braves. Here's Carlos Santana, a couple of fly balls to Schaefer in center field.
To your point about the Twins offense, Dick, I'd started to say before the double play ball last inning that the one thing the Twins have done is just not let the other team up when they've had a chance to have a big inning, whether it's because they've hit their way all the way around or whether there's walks and an error or something. But when they've gotten an opportunity to have a big inning, they've gone ahead and taken advantage. And that's fun when you're doing that as a ball club. You win. That's the way you win ball games.
Pitch count really good, as you can see, throwing pitches in the 6th. Just the 63rd pitch, and it's a foul ball, 2 strikes. 14 first pitch strikes from Phil Hughes in the 20 plate appearances.
And not all of them fastballs. He's mixed in some off-speed stuff as well. And one of the things that might be going on today with the early lead, Twins stake Phil to a 4-0 lead by the top of the 3rd inning. It gives him a chance to get some confidence in throwing some other things. And throw some first pitch breaking balls, work on a changeup if he wants to.
2 strikes to Santana. Just off the corner. That cutter that racked up so many strikeouts for him last year against a left-handed batter, that cut fastball that clipped the corner.
That may be one of the other reasons that right-handers have hit better against Phil Hughes than left-handers. That maybe that backdoor cutter a little more effective.
Hit Santana's leg in the box.
More effective to left-handers running it in on him and then throwing it on backdoor in the outside corner than you really only have one spot with the cutter to a right-hander. Phil has thrown it in at a guy and have it cut a right-handed hitter, have it cut back over the inside corner, but it's not as easy to throw that pitch as it is on the outside corner. And if you hang it over the middle of the plate, right-handers will tattoo it.
Off the plate, 2-2. Nothing has mounted against Hughes in this game. Back-to-back 2-out singles in the 2nd, but then the next man was retired. Leadoff single in the 5th. Nothing really happened after that. And now Kipnis with a leadoff single in the 6th. And the count has run out to 2-2 with Santana. Dozier knocks it down and just barely got Carlos Santana. They got it out, and that ball, I think, got Dozier right in the breadbasket. On the play, Kipnis goes to second base. Must have hit him hard because the carom came out about 10 feet.
Yeah, this ball was hit hard by Santana. Brian knocks it down, stays with it. Nice play to get it out there. That ball was a rocket hit at him, and an in-between hop. All you can do as an infielder there is hope the ball stays close enough that you can get it out somewhere, and it just barely did.
Here's Brantley. Bouncer to first and a fly to right. That might have crossed up Suzuki. He scrambled to catch ball 1.
I think he was looking for that two-seam fastball on the outside part of the plate, and Phil kind of came over the top of it and threw it inside. It might be just the location that messed Kurt up a little bit.
On the ground, skips into left field. Kipnis to third. They're going to wave him around. And Rosario's throw up the line, knocked around and kicked by Suzuki. And Rosario will be charged with an error to allow Brantley to go to second base. And the Indians are on the board at 7-1.
Mistake by the young man out there in left field. They'll talk about this one. I'm sure he knows better than this, but especially with a 7-0 lead, cannot miss the cutoff man. Brantley does a nice job. Takes the sinking fastball the other way for a base hit. Not only are you not going to throw him out, but you don't want the batter runner going to second base. So you hit the cutoff man. The safest thing to do right there is realize you're not going to throw him out and throw the ball into second base. Keep the guy on first base. But if you elect to throw home, must not ever miss the cutoff man.
Well, now some things have started to mount. A couple of singles in the Indians' first run. Here's their cleanup batter, Brandon Moss. Missing inside, ball one. Now on the play, Brantley did not even think of advancing until the ball hit Suzuki's shin guard and rolled away. So the overthrow itself didn't allow the advance, but Suzuki couldn't handle the big hop. That's dumped toward left, and that's a base hit. And Brantley's going to try to come home. Here's Rosario's throw, and what were the Indians doing? Rosario with a strong throw, and it wasn't even close. 2 away.
The kid comes back with a very nice play, gets this ball very, very quickly, and to answer your what was probably a figurative only question, Dick, I don't know what the Indians were doing. The runner got a fairly good read on it, but Rosario got to the ball so quickly, and he's got a good arm, made a good, strong, accurate throw this time. And as much as Rosario can't make the overthrow of the cutoff man in the play before, there's no way the Indians can get thrown out at home 7-1 right there.
That's not on the runner. That's on Mike Sarbaugh, the third base coach.
Yep, just can't get thrown out there.
Ball, strike one to Lonnie Chisenhall. 3 singles in the inning will essentially make that run that the Indians have now an earned run. It was an earned run anyway because Brantley got an RBI in his single. So it's an earned run, 3 hits, and Hughes now trying to keep the damage to a minimum. Foul, 0-2. 6 hits for the Indians. They've all been singles, and you've been counting the home runs as I'm sure Phil Hughes has. He only gave up 16 last year, and he's given up half that number already this year. But if you don't walk people and you just give up singles, you're not going to give up many runs. Why have the Twins scored so many runs in this series? It's the extra base pop that they've had and some clutch singles along the way. 2 strikes. Whoa.
Wow. That's a great 0-2 pitch right there. That pitch looked like it could have gone either way. Tough pitch to hit anyway.
Just get the sense that that time he hit his spot. That's right where he wanted to throw it.
Yes, it is.
And now outside 2-2. Got a chance to complete 6 innings with his pitch count in the 70s. Foul. Twins have had a stretch and they're almost done with it. 17 games in 17 days, and that will conclude after tomorrow's game. With Mike Pelfrey going 7 innings last night and Hughes in position to at least do that here today, it'll be a big break for the bullpen and be all hands on deck tomorrow for the series finale. But Hughes has got a little work to do yet here in the 6th. That should take care of it. Rosario comes in. 3 singles, a run for the Indians, but the Twins still lead by 6. Twins hitting the ball very well again here today.
Red hot Torrey Hunter continues to torment the Indians. In the very first inning, ripped a long home run to left field to make it 1-0. Then in the third, Vargas, Escobar, and Rosario, 3 straight clutch 2-out hits. Brian Dozier got in the act in the 6th with a home run. Twins at that point up 7-0. Phil Hughes has pitched much better, hitting his spots on both sides of the plate and mixing in a breaking ball, as the Indians pretty much under control at this point.
And it'll be Kurt Suzuki leading off the 7th against Nick Hagedorn, who, like Webb, pitched last night. Suzuki 1 for 2 with an intentional walk. Ball 1. It'll be Suzuki, Vargas, and Escobar in the Twins 7th. And the Tigers lost to the Royals this afternoon. Will be without their catcher Alex Avila for a while. And if this score holds or something similar to it, Twins will be a game and a half behind the Royals and just a game behind the Tigers. Those two teams will play tomorrow night in Detroit, wrapping up their series, and then the Twins will enjoy an off day Monday in Detroit and start a series with the Tigers on Tuesday. Hit to right center field, slicing away from Bourne, and he makes a nice catch in the gap. 1 down. Suzuki denied an extra base hit by the Cleveland center fielder.
Yeah, very nice play. That ball just kept slicing away and slicing away. He was tracking it. Looked like it had a chance. Held up just long enough for the speedy Bourne to catch up. You see him tracking the ball, keeps slicing. Finally, with the dive, he makes a very nice play.
Kenny Vargas got a very important hit for the Twins in the 3rd with 2 out. It looked like the Twins might squander an opportunity to add to a 1-0 lead. Vargas drove a run in with a single. So did Escobar, and so did Rosario. And the Twins ended up with a 3-run inning and haven't been seriously threatened ever since. And all the while have added some runs of their own. 2 in the 5th, 1 more in the 6th. 1-0. Popped up, out of play, 1-1. Hey, we should pass along congratulations to former Twin Carl Willis, who was the AAA pitching coach for the Indians, and he today was hired as the pitching coach of the Boston Red Sox.
Oh,
so
that's great. For
the train is in the big leagues again. He was a pitching coach here for a while, also with the Mariners. Off-speed pitch over, strike 2. Twins will first see the Red Sox at Target Field later this month. Carl Willis made the final short list of candidates for pitching coach with the Twins. Dump behind first. Going to be a tough play for Santana. And Vargas drops a base hit. And he'll hold up with a single. A 1-out single in the 7th. You worry about the guy hitting at 420 feet over there, and he ends up hitting at about 120 feet over here. Carsoup.com trivia question: which Twins player has the most career hits against the Indians? I'm just going to go with last night's answer, Mr. Carew. And instead, it's Mr. Puckett.
Well, Rodney hit .356 lifetime against the Indians. I think it's what we saw last night. Puck probably with more opportunity.
Swing and a miss by Escobar.
With the divisional play, maybe. But the other thing is, Rodney walked a few more times, and it was hard to walk Kirby. It was really, really tough. I used to sit and watch him hit and marvel at why anybody ever threw him a strike. because he was really, really good on strikes. He wasn't bad on balls out of the strike zone either, but he was better on strikes. And if I were a manager of an opposing team when Puck was playing, I would have said, don't ever throw him a strike. Let's see how many times we can walk him in a game.
In Kirby's rookie season, 557 at bats. He walked 16 times.
That's my point. Just try and walk him. You can't do it.
Escobar with a sharp hit to left. Twins are trying to score again here in the 7th inning. A line out caught by Bourne, a pop fly single. Now Escobar with a liner.
There's another young man that it really is difficult to get him out with breaking ball strikes. Eduardo Escobar. He's really good because he's a good low ball hitter. He's good on breaking ball strikes. You watch this pitch settle right there. That's right in his happy zone. And you're just not going to get him out too many times with a breaking ball strike. Now you can get him with breaking balls in the dirt. He'll chase when he's thinking. You make him think about he's going to get a fastball, and he'll get in a hurry and chase that breaking ball in the dirt. But breaking ball strike, he's awfully good.
Rosario 2 for 3. RBI single in the 3rd. Average at 357. Down low, ball 1. Rosario made a mistake in the field, and then the very next play delivered a strong throw right down the baseline. And I think one of the very strong impressions Rosario made with the Twins during spring training games, the accuracy of his arm. There's a high fly right center field, and Bourne comes in, and he'll make the catch 2 away. Now, the error that he was charged with, the overthrowing the cutoff man, that was more of a mental mistake than anything else. The throw he made to Suzuki, I mean, it was a strike on the fly, and there was no chance the runner was going to score on that play. 2 down. And sometimes we get all wrapped up in arm strength, and we hear Byron Buxton's got a great arm. In his case, it's also accurate, but accuracy is so much more important than arm strength, I would think. There's Schaefer.
Well, they sure go hand in hand. You like to have arm strength,
right,
but if you can't throw it where you're supposed to throw it, it doesn't make any difference at all. So they're 2 sides of the same coin for a good outfielder.
If the Twins are going to score in the 7th, it'll be up to Schaefer. Twins scored in 6 innings last night, 4 different innings so far here today. Swing and a miss. 1-1. $15 hits for the Twins, 7 runs so far, 6 of them charged to the Cleveland starter Bruce Chen. On the outside corner. Up high. 2-2. Twins scored early in the 1st inning. Torrey Hunter with a home run against Bruce Chen. They've not looked back. Two to Schaefer. Liner to right, a base hit. Vargas will be held at 3rd. So Schaefer will not drive in a run, but he has now filled the bases for Danny Santana.
Pretty much station to station with Big Kenny Vargas out there. You got to do a little bit better job of hitting them where they ain't to get him around from second base. A line drive right at the outfielder is not going to do it, but a nice at bat by Jordan Schaefer there against the left-hand hitter with runners in scoring position. Although runners in scoring, Kenny Vargas in scoring position is an asterisk when he's on second base. Sort of in scoring position.
Here is Santana 0 for 3. Everybody's gotten a hit in the starting lineup now except Santana.
Yeah, I'd love to see Danny get a base hit here. Drive in a couple.
High and tight, ball 1. Twins entered the game hitting .261. Tied with Toronto for 4th in the league. Team batting average is going to go up by game's end. 16 hits for the Twins. 2-0.
Well, 261 is really pretty good for an overall team batting average, but the difference it's a lot better than the 261 would indicate because of the way they've hit with runners in scoring position and the way they've hit with runners in scoring position and 2 out. It's a very, very strong 261 in that sense.
2-0 to Santana. Up the middle. Backhanded by Kipnis, and he throws to first. Good play by Jason Kipnis. And the Twins don't score in the 7th, leaving the bases full.
The telecast is presented by authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Minnesota Twins, LLC.
With the same excellence, inflection as last night. You sure that was a live read? It sounded exactly like the way you read it last night. Nick Swisher will lead off the Cleveland 7th. Phil Hughes starting the inning with 77 pitches. And another first pitch strike. Swisher has 2 of the 6 Cleveland singles. And a breaking ball, strike 2. And Swisher just looks out at Hughes, his former teammate, and says, "What are you throwing me that for?"
You never used to throw that one. I played behind you.
To the left field corner. Down for a hit. Swisher taking his old teammate to school on an 0-2 pitch. He has a double to lead off the 7th.
Yeah, too much of the plate, too much of the upper part of the middle part of the strike zone for an 0-2 pitch. That's one thing about Phil. He will continue to pound the strike zone when he's on. But that pitch right there looked like he tried to backdoor cutter, and it didn't cut much and stayed kind of up spinning on the outside part of the plate with 2 strikes. Swisher protecting against the slower curveball that he saw, just waiting a little bit longer and was able to handle that outside pitch.
Missing inside. Ball 1 to Michael Bourne. He's got a hit. and a ground out, reaching on a fielder's choice.
Couldn't really tell if that pitch that Swisher hit was a attempt at a two-seam sinker going away or just a backdoor cutter that didn't cut.
A base hit to right. Swisher's going to score. That's 7-2. Bourne digging for second. The Indians got 3 singles and scoring a run in the 6th. They now have 5 hits in their last 7 at bats, and who knows where that 6th inning might have led if the Indians hadn't made an out at the plate.
Right. That was really a mistake. Kind of a momentum crusher right there.
Still nobody out. Now Roberto Perez will be pinch hit for by Murphy. Perez 0 for 2. So as the Cleveland lineup is structured right now, although Murphy won't stay in a game, everybody's a lefty against Hughes. Ball 1.
Isn't that funny? Coming into this game, Roberto Perez was 5 for 7 against Phil Hughes, and David Murphy 2 for 11. But Murphy's going to pinch hit, just that lefty against the right-hander.
1-1. Hughes needs to get an out here. Nothing's really snowballed on him, but a pair of doubles to start the 7th inning have given the fans here at least some hope. 1-1. High, deep to right center field. Wow. 7-4. A pinch hit home run for David Murphy. And the Indians are right back in the game. On an 0-2 pitch, Swisher drove a double down the left field line, and now Bourne follows with a double, and then this.
Well, hitters know he's coming in there with fastballs most of the time, and that ball again right in the center of the strike zone. David Murphy, good hitter against right-handed pitching. He got all of that one.
Indians didn't have an extra base hit for 6 innings, and now they start the 7th with 3 straight. And Neil Allen with a trip to the mound here, trying to get Phil Hughes to record some outs here in the 7th inning. Starting to get ready in the Twins bullpen. Sailing along, 77 pitches through 6 innings. And then some well hit balls here, and suddenly it's a ball game. This was the story of Hughes' start against the Indians in Minnesota. He held them to 2 runs over 6 innings, and then was charged with 2 more runs in a fraction of an inning in the 7th at Target Field. Zach Walters will hit for Jose Ramirez. Walters added to the roster. Mike Aviles, the veteran, put on the family emergency list, and Walters instructed, if you get a first pitch fastball, take a hack at it. He did. Strike 1.
His teammates telling him, and that's the scouting report that's around the league now. I think Phil kind of sneaked up on everybody last year with it, pounding that strike zone the way he did. Hitters are fully aware now.
1-1. He's just missed the inside corner. Slower breaking ball taken for ball 2. A little anxiety here. The Twins have had this game in hand up until a quick burst of extra base hitting by the Indians here in the 7th. Swing and a miss, 2-2. Pitch number 90 coming up for Hughes. He'll face Kipnis after Walters, or someone will.
Maybe, yeah.
Fouled back. Pitch that was left up. Murphy's home run measured at 418 feet, if you care about these things. And strikeout, first out of the inning. And that will bring up Kipnis. move from the Twins dugout. Walters hitting because Ramirez had struck out twice swinging against Phil Hughes, and now Walters does the same. Base is empty, and here is Kipnis. Singled and scored his last time up.
I'm wondering if manager Paul Molitor isn't taking this one last hitter for Hughes at a time. As long as he gets him out, I think he stays on the mound to pitch to the next guy. I don't think he's going to want his relief pitcher to pitch to the tie-in run in this inning. So we'll see how they play this.
A miss, then a strike, 1-1. Base hit. And these aren't cheapies. These were all of them going back to Kipnis' hit in the 6th. They've been struck very sharply. And on the last 10 at bats, the Indians have 7 hits against Phil Hughes. And that'll be the end of the day for Phil Hughes. With the likes of Santana, Brantley, and Moss due up, Twins have to make a move with Phil Hughes having a very difficult time of things here in the 7th inning. Twins still leading by 3. And we'll see what happens here in the balance of the 7th inning. Three harmless, meaningless singles, but starting with Kipnis' at bat in the 6th inning, they started raking him pretty hard, knocked him out 1 inning later. And Brian Dunsing will try to put an end to this situation in the 7th inning.
Brian Dunsing's been very, very reliable over the years in this role here in the 7th inning for the Twins. Pitching to Paul Molitor brings him in to pitch to the switch hitting Carlos Santana, who's higher batting average right-handed than left, but not as much power. And then left-handers coming, Brantley and Moss coming up behind him. So Paul going with the left-hander Dunsing.
Santana, as good as he has been right-handed, really has struggled against Dunsing. 2 hits in 25 at-bats, an .080 batting average. 1-0 from Dunsing to Santana. Popped up near second base. And Dozier under it, out number 2. And that'll bring up Brantley. But first, follow Twins baseball all season in 2015 with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bats up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet. Michael Brantley drove in the first Cleveland run last inning with a single. Swing and a miss, strike one.
Really weak looking swing there, and you bring up a great point when you mentioned Santana's batting average against Brian Dunsing. This is what managers study. The bench coaches help with matchups, help behind the scenes on the bench. Santana hit 080 against Dunsing. Brantley only 133. Moss coming up next, never seen him. Pretty good choice of relievers right here.
Runner goes, and that ball gets by Santana. And stealing second is Kipnis. And Suzuki got that on the bare hand someplace. He was off with the pitch, so that it went to the screen really didn't matter. Dunsing kind of forgot about Kipnis, and the Indians took advantage. Brantley, 4 hits, 30 at bats against Brian Dunsing, a 133 average. 1-1. With the Indians advancing another runner into scoring position. Two and one. Moss would be the tying run if Brantley reaches. Suddenly the Indians have 10 hits of their own. Dunsing's not been sharp since coming off the disabled list. He was able to get Santana, but now he's in danger of bringing the tying run to the plate. At the knees with a fastball. Two to Brantley. Missed inside. And here comes Moss as the tying run. Moss 1 for 3 today. Has never, as Roy said, faced Brian Dunsing.
He has acquitted himself pretty well against left-handers so far this year. 267 batting average. He's got 3 doubles and a home run, so he's not a pushover for Brian. Brian's going to have to make real good pitches here.
Actually, he has faced Dunsing once, and Moss has delivered a sacrifice fly, and that's what Dunsing hopes he does here. Breaking ball that clumps the corner. Fox Tracks presented by Carrier.
You're right. I was looking at the 000 number and the 0 for 0, the sacrifice fly, not an at bat officially, but he could use the standard sacrifice fly right now. You're right.
On the outside corner with a fastball.
2 great pitches right there. Now he's got a couple to work with to close it out. 2 really good pitches. Great breaking ball location, great fastball location.
Breaking ball, and he laid off 1-2. Three hits and a run in the 6th for the Indians. 4 hits, a walk, and 3 runs here in the 7th. They were dead in the water, but not anymore. One and 2 to Brandon Moss. Nice stop by Suzuki. He's laid off 2 breaking balls. And Suzuki had to fish them both out of the dirt.
Such a fine line a pitcher to throw that breaking ball to a left-hander. There's a fine line about height to get him to swing at it. Brian missing just below that line.
Full count with Chisenhall, another left-handed batter on deck.
Needs to pull out one of those first two pitches right here. Needs to make a great pitch right here.
Check swing, and it nearly cut Chisenhall in half. In the on-deck circle, the liners sailed right by him. The veteran Moss wastes a pretty good pitch by Dunsing.
Clearly protected against a breaking ball there with 2 strikes. He was late on that fastball, waiting a long time, trying to make sure he identifies the pitch and doesn't get out in front of that breaking ball. Brian's got to throw this in a good spot, whatever it is.
Tap foul. The runners, of course, taking off with a 3-2 count and 2 out. Suzuki out for a chat.
And I think the conversation is right there with Kurt, who's so good at knowing what his pitcher's got and sensing what the batter's doing. Moss clearly not jumping out to get out in front of a fastball and say, what do we want to throw here? Because it looks like he's hanging in there a long time against the fastball. So he had a decent rip at that breaking ball to try to get, where do we have to throw this pitch?
Fouled off a leg.
Good at bat by Moss here. He's really, really battling, laying off the breaking balls that are below the strike zone and fouling the ones that are just high enough to be strikes that he has to protect against.
Quite a battle here, and now the Twins with a 3-2 count are employing a shift. After what, 3-2 fouls, now they have Santana behind the second base bag. Escobar, the only infielder on the left side, and so the Indians take advantage. Twins don't care. Kipnis goes to third, and Dunsing steps off. Kind of a moot point. He would score on a hit anyway, but Dunsing at least had the presence of mind to step off the rubber and not balk.
Yeah, that had potential balk written all over it, so that was a good move by Brian.
Another 3-2 to Brandon Moss. Fouled back again. All the runs so far charged to Phil Hughes. Dunsing trying to save one of his runs and one of Hughes's runs.
Good rip by Moss there. You can tell, as I said, he's really waiting a long time trying to hit the fastball the other way, it looks like. So that's allowing him to have better rips at the breaking ball. The perfect pitch right here would be something in on him. It's so hard for a left-handed pitcher to want to come in.
And they're loaded up for Chisenhall.
That's a great at-bat.
Dunsing got Santana on a pop-up, but now he's walked 2 men in a row.
Such a good at-bat by Moss. We'll look at all of them. There's a great breaking ball and a fastball that paints the outside corner. And then Moss goes to work. He takes that, lays off those 2 breaking balls, lays off another one, goes to 3-2. Now watch him wait. He's late on that fastball because he's protecting against the breaking ball. Has a good rip at that one. He's waiting. Foul, has a left field approach there, and that lets him take that breaking ball in the dirt. That's just a professional at bat right there by Brandon Moss, who after getting 0-2 gave up his pull field, waiting a long time on the fastballs so that he couldn't get fooled by the breaking ball. Ends up hard battle and a walk to load the bases. That was classic.
Rough outing for Dunsing. He issues 2 walks, facing just 3 batters, and another pitching change in the 7th. Well, Twins bullpen has been outstanding, and they'll really be tested here now because suddenly the Indians will have the tying run on base, go-ahead run at the plate. Last 9 games, and bullpen has been outstanding, and one of their best has been Aaron Thompson, and suddenly he's got a very big out to get. Thompson has been outstanding against left-handers, giving up just a 115 batting average, and it's lefty Lonnie Chisenhall with the bases loaded and 2 out. Up high, ball 1. The bases are loaded because Brian Dunsing walked both Brantley and Moss. On the outside corner, 1-1. A very borderline pitch, and Thompson and the Twins got the call.
I really like the idea of going with fastballs. I think the scouting report for a hitter against Aaron Thompson has got to be to watch out for that great curveball he's got. Now he can go back to it. And once the scouting report is out there and they say he's got this great breaking ball, left-hand hitters are really, really protecting against that. So he gets a quick strike, shows him a fat that he can throw, not afraid to throw fastballs for a strike. Now the hitter switches back to being in a little bit of a hurry and makes the breaking ball more effective.
Fly ball, short center field. Schaefer has to come all the way in near Dozier to end the 7th inning. Thompson gets his out, but the lead for the Twins is cut in half. Thank you, Tom. 7-4. Brian Dozier almost had that short fly ball fall back. The wind, which was blowing out toward right, has now started blowing in from center field, and it blew that high pop-up back closer and closer to the infield.
And it looked like Brian was going to be the more comfortable fielder to catch that ball, but Jordan Schaefer had called it and wanted it and was just not going to give it up. The ball has dropped. You recall a ball that dropped out there. I think it was in the Chicago series that the center fielder didn't come in and catch. He wasn't going to let that happen again. Meanwhile, Brian Shaw's in now to pitch for the Cleveland Indians.
And Dozier's in the box leading off the Twins' eighth in now a 3-run game outside ball one. Dozier, Hunter, and Mauer. The Twins can quell the sudden enthusiasm here in Cleveland if they can get a run. Left the bases full in the 7th, but then so too did the Indians. There's a strike called, 1-1.
Brian Shaw loves that cutter. He's 2 in a row. He throws that pitch the predominant. In my recent memory, that's a predominant pitch. He just cutter after cutter for the most part.
Walters in it short and now up and away. Hayes catching. 2-1 to Dozier. 3-1.
Yeah, one more run here would be really, really big. It stretch the lead back out to 4, and you're looking pretty good. Take a lot of the momentum away, and you get grand slam proof.
And a 5-pitch walk will put Dozier aboard. Cleveland bullpen last 2 years has been outstanding, and they've been quite a bit less than outstanding so far this year. Shaw's numbers okay, but a dozen hits, 3 walks and 2 home runs in 9 innings. It's almost a miracle he's got an ERA of 3.
Yeah, it really is. That's giving him up all at once, I suppose. I'm not sure. Didn't Trevor get him at home for the walk-off? Trevor Plouffe? Seems to me like that was the.
Here's Hunter. He's reached all 9 times in this series. 7 hits, a walk, and an error. Ball 1. Well, Terry Francona's just about used up his bench. We'll remind you again, Trevor Plouffe is not here with the Twins. He is in Texas. Twins expect him back on the roster, probably even in the starting lineup tomorrow. 1-1 to Hunter. A family situation that needed his attention. There goes Dozier, and the pitch tapped up the line in front of Chisenhall. Firing on the run. Dozier advances, and Hunter finally makes an out in Cleveland. As Mauer comes to the plate, we'll remind you tonight, Fox Sports Live will get you caught up on a full night of NHL and NBA playoff action, plus highlights on tonight's MLB games. You can see Fox Sports Live on Fox Sports 1 or see it simulcast right here on Fox Sports North. Mauer with 2 hits. He struck out, bounced into a double play. Looking for his 16th run batted in here. Strike over the inside corner.
See if Joe can grind one out here. This is, as we said, this would be a big run for the Twins to get, and Joe a good guy to have up there under most circumstances.
That's to left, and caught by the left fielder Brantley. Dozier played it well and gets back to the bag. 2 down. And that'll leave the 8th inning run scoring to Kurt Suzuki. Suzuki, the cleanup hitter in Plouffe's absence, singled his first time up, was intentionally walked in the 5th, lined out leading off the 7th inning. High chopper knocked down by Shaw, picked up by Kipnis, and the Twins leave Dozier at second base. It's still 7-4. Aaron Thompson got the last out of the 7th. He'll be asked to get some outs here in the 8th. Switch hitter Nick Swisher, left-hand hitting Michael Bourne, and then the catcher Hayes. Swisher started the 3-run 7th on an 0-2 pitch. He took something from Phil Hughes out and away from him and lined it to the left field corner for a double. Then Bourne followed with a double. Murphy with a pinch hit home run. And while the rest of the inning may have caused some indigestion, after the Murphy home run, no more runs scored. 1-1 to Swisher.
I know I had indigestion.
And that skips by Escobar into left field. The very play we've seen Trevor Plouffe improve on so much. Just a little move to his left, and that ball skipped under Escobar's glove, and I think it'll be a 4-hit day for Nick Swisher.
Escobar in no man's land there with that hop. It was an in-between hop, and he went sideways after it. What we see third baseman do in that situation is give ground back up toward the outfield and try to make it as long a hop as possible. Escobar with very, very difficult in-between hop to try and figure out where that ball was going to come up near his glove.
And now Bourne. Breaking ball over for a strike. Bottom line is Thompson was asked to get a left-handed batter, Chisenhall, and he got him. Now another lefty, Bourne. Up high. 1-1. Bourne 2 hits today, but his average just barely crawling over 200. Swing and a miss. 1-2.
Aaron Thompson has a very, very deceptive breaking ball. I really like it. It's especially against left-handers. you see it and it starts breaking and you think it's going to settle in, and it just keeps going down and slowing up.
Like that.
Just like that. It just does. It refuses to stop biting down. It's just really, really good pitch.
Now
watch this here. He throws it. It comes up. It bites. It bites. It bites. It just keeps going.
28 at bats against left-handers. He's given up only 3 hits and struck out 10. Here is Hayes, the backup catcher, his first plate appearance.
Hadn't been too shabby against right-handers. The right-handers only hit 184 coming into the game today, I think.
Outside, ball 1. Hayes 4 hits, 24 at bats, but a couple of home runs and 5 runs batted in.
He has the kind of delivery as well, that really a nice loose arm delivery with his fastball to go with that breaking ball that's in every hitter's mind. His fastball is a little sneaky. He's not afraid to throw it. 90 miles an hour is fast enough with that breaking ball if you throw it in good spots. Like
missing inside, 2-1.
Really good try. Hit the outside corner, tried to come back in on the inside corner.
Base runner, another base runner, brings the tying run to the plate. Walters in the on-deck circle. Pulled foul, 2-2. Have turned 21 ground ball double plays on the year. High fly left field. Rosario back. Out number 2. Thompson, from what we've seen, not really a ground ball pitcher. We've seen him with the curveball. In addition to the strikeouts, he gets a lot of lazy fly balls with the curve.
Yep. Yeah, and you would think he might get some ground balls out of the curveball, but for the most part, guys just have a hard time squaring that up, and they're either over the top of it so they swing and miss it, or they get the underneath part of it, trying to stay with that bite that keeps going down. They go down to get underneath it. They have a real hard time squaring it up from both sides, left or right.
Swing and a miss out in front. Twins have had 2 different number 9 hitters today. They've combined to strike out all 3 times. Walters, as we said, added to the roster with Mike Aviles put on the medical emergency list. The veteran has really hit well against the Twins, and instead the Twins face Walters. Swing and a miss, 2 strikes. Aviles hitting .288 on the year. Walters has been hurt and in AAA. Utility player, can play all over the infield, even in the outfield. 0-2 from Thompson, trying to wrap up the 8th. Pulled foul. Made solid contact with that breaking ball, but foul.
Wasn't in the same spot as those first 2, and you understand the thinking with Thompson and Suzuki. If he was going to swing at balls in the dirt that weakly, just keep going there until he proves he's either going to lay off of it or he swings and misses it. That one stayed right in the middle, 0-2 right in the middle of the strike zone. Not his best curveball. He got away with that one. He might go right back down there again.
Showed him a fastball up high.
Show him one fastball and then go back down there probably.
1-2. Struck him out with a breaking ball. Another outstanding performance by Aaron Thompson, recording 4 big outs late in this game.
Had a great spot to start the night.
Nothing's easy in this game, but last night the Twins had a comfortable win, and we thought we were headed for another one here today, but it became a little edgy in the 7th inning. We go to the 9th. Scott Atchison pitching for Cleveland. Kenny Vargas will lead things off in the 9th for the Twins. Atchison coming in for the 13th time. And Vargas takes strike one. Vargas has never faced the veteran. Escobar and Rosario will follow. Swing and a miss, 2 strikes. Dribbled back to the mound. Atchison makes the play, 1 away. There are 39-year-old baseball players who look like they're 29, like Torrey Hunter. Then there are 39-year-old baseball players who look like they're 49, like Scott Atchison. I mean, he has as good a sense of humor about it. He's got gray hair, and he's had it for a number of years.
What's wrong with that?
I'm just saying. Here's Escobar. Ball 1. Atchison has just been one of the best stories in baseball. Professional since 1999. Went to Japan, kind of bounced around a number of different organizations. Pitched for Terry Francona in Boston. And then after some time with the Mets in 2013, Francona brought him back over here, and he had an outstanding year last year. 2-1 to Escobar. And a strike, 2-2. That's what he does. He throws strikes, doesn't walk people.
Imagine that.
Keeps the ball in the ballpark. Fouled away.
I got to tell you, I mean, hitting at any level, but especially this level, is hard. I mean, it's hard to string hits together, and if you make another team get all the runs via safe hits, there's guys standing out there behind you and catch the ball and just make everybody hit it.
Swing and a miss. Escobar strikes out, 2 down. And now for what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. First of all, it's Mother's Day tomorrow. And then once the ball game starts here, Danny Salazar, who so far has pitched the only win for the Indians against the Twins, will face Trevor May.
Well, if Trevor May is on tomorrow, that's going to be a really, really good matchup because Salazar's kind of got it going right now. Tough on everybody.
Rosario takes inside, 2 hits, an RBI. He's driven in at least 1 run in all 4 of his big league games. On the ground, scooped up by Walters. Twins will take a 3-run lead to the bottom of the 9th, and Glenn Perkins will try to shut the door. You can't win as many games as the Twins have won this year without a good closer, and the Twins have one in Glenn Perkins.
Well, one of the best, an all-star closer, and for good reason. He just comes in and gets the job done. The strikeout to walk ratio is such an important statistic in my mind. You see here 12-0. That's pretty doggone good. Opponent batting average low. There's a reason why he's 10 for 10, why he saved 40 games a year, why he's an all-star.
Andrew Miller of the Yankees leading the league with 13 saves. If Perkins gets the save here today, he'll jump into a tie with Joakim Soria of the Tigers with his 11th, second place in the league. He'll face Kipnis, Santana, and Brantley. Significant that the Twins have a 3-run lead because Santana's had a great deal of success against Perkins, and Santana cannot represent the tying run. Kipnis 1 for 6 against Perkins. 1-0. To left, Rosario will play it on a hop. It's a leadoff single. Well, Kipnis with 3 straight hits, 2 of them against Phil Hughes, and now a leadoff single in the 9th against Perkins. Carlos Santana is 6 for 10 against Glenn Perkins with 3 home runs. There was a span of 5 plate appearances against Perkins going back to 2013 and into last year, where Santana hit 3 home runs against Perkins. Inside, ball 1. In talking with Santana yesterday in the series finale in Kansas City, he hurt his left shoulder and has not been able to take batting practice right-handed the last 2 days. Nothing wrong with the shoulder on that swing.
It didn't look like anything was hurting except maybe his back on that follow-through.
He had to hit right-handed against Dunsing in the 7th and popped up. 1-1. And time called. To left field.
And Rosario with the call and the catch, one away.
Yeah, got in on just a little bit, just enough.
And now Brantley. 2 for 10 against Perkins. Perkins now will face left-handed batters in the next 3 spots, should there be 3 more spots. Brantley, Moss, and Chisenhall.
The only question whether Terry Francona will bring Rayburn off the bench, who's on fire against left-handers.
Left-handers are actually hitting Perkins incredibly well, 6 for 13. With Kipnis now 7 for 14. They're hitting .500 against Perk. One strike. And now they're hitting over .500, and the Indians will get the tying run to the plate. Not well hit, but through a seam in the infield defense. And now here comes Moss as the tying run again.
Well, this ball gets in on Brantley, but he keeps his body back, talking about staying behind the ball. We were talking about with Paul Molitor early. Stays behind it, keeps his head back, strong enough to be able to muscle it to the right side, and as Dick said, just found a hole.
Perkins has given up 11 hits here on the year now, 8 of them to left-handed batters. And here's another one, Brandon Moss. Strike on the outside corner with Brantley stealing second. His is not the tying run. Perkins has got to bear down here and get Moss, who had a classic plate appearance, finally drawing a walk from Dunsing to chase him from the game in the 7th. 1-1. Why would left-handers have had so much success this year against Perkins?
What I've noticed is the left-handers have given up their pull field. They are looking fastball and looking to, for the most part, hit the ball up the middle and to left field. It allows them to lay off the slider. So they've narrowed it down to one pitch for Perk.
Swing and a miss, and he didn't give him that fastball.
And he didn't do it that time. He was looking to hit a home run on a fastball right there, and that's why he was out in front of that slider. But for the most part, what I've seen from left-hand hitters is the ability to lay off the slider, slap the ball to the left like Kipnis did, or the hit that Brantley got, he was actually beat on the fastball a little bit, just muscling it through. And Perk's slider is actually most effective when it's a ball down at the right foot of a right-handed hitter.
Fastball on the outside corner, got him looking. 2 down.
Great pitch by Perk there. Really good pitch because he got him. He got him looking for the breaking ball. There starts with a real good fastball on the outside corner. Shows him the slider there, then comes right back with it in a potential fastball count. He's out in front of it, and then he zips the fastball in there because Moss had a little concern about the slider, and the 94-mile-an-hour fastball burned him on the outside corner. That's a great pitch selection and, even more importantly, location of pitches. But that slider that Moss took and then swung at, those are both sliders that are not strikes that get right-handers out, but left-handers have been able to lay off of that for the most part. That's the only thing that I've seen.
It is Ryan Rayburn, and the reason I discounted his use, he's just 2 for 17 against Perkins. Outside, ball 1.
But he's really been hot against left-handers this year. He had an off year last year. Really didn't swing the bat well at all against anybody last year, but has been on fire so far this year. I thought that if he got to be the tying run, that Francona would use him.
Popped up. Dozier in the outfield grass. Squeezes it, and Perkins gets the save, and the Twins hang on and beat the Indians. Tom Hanneman and the Twins won, as I said, comfortably last night. There was nothing comfortable about the last 3 innings here today.